So let's talk about LeBron first, all right? Because he's the biggest news with the Lakers right now. LeBron says he's taking his time with free agency and may wait until August. How difficult does that make that for the Lakers front office? I'll start with
Welcome back to the channel, NBA family. If you're new here, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, because this story is bigger than most people realize. LeBron James still hasn't received a new NBA contract offer from the Lakers. And listen to this. That's pretty shocking when you think about everything we were hearing just a short time ago. Going into free agency, the story everywhere was that LeBron and the Lakers were supposedly locked in behind the scenes, meeting constantly, talking through plans, and mapping out the future together. We kept hearing they were on the same page, having conversations, building chemistry, and working through ideas about what came next for the franchise. Then Rich Paul went on the Pat McAfee show and revealed that somewhere between 10 and 12 teams had real interest in signing LeBron James, making it sound like the market was wide open for him. But hold up, almost immediately after that, reports suddenly started surfacing that LeBron and the Lakers hadn't even been talking. According to those reports, there had been little to no communication at all. And man, that completely flipped the narrative everyone believed. Now here we are on June 30th, which means free agency officially begins on Wednesday, and everything is about to change in a hurry. The entire conversation has shifted. Coming into this offseason, I think LeBron's supporters believed he held all the leverage, and it's pretty clear that he and the people around him felt the same way. But now they're running straight into a reality they probably didn't expect. Girl, that's exactly what's unfolding right before our eyes. They're finding out where they truly stand in the eyes of the Los Angeles Lakers. Earlier today, I watched a really interesting segment from Byron Scott's Fast Break that caught my attention. The episode is titled, "Are the Lakers Better Off Without LeBron?" Ellie's next era starts now, so if you haven't seen it yet, it's definitely worth checking out. On that panel, Samaki Walker was there. Olden Polinis also joined the discussion. The host, Jay Wagers, I hope I'm saying his name correctly, was leading the conversation alongside Byron Scott. They were breaking down this exact situation, and the moderator started framing the discussion from the perspective that LeBron was the one holding all the power. But Byron Scott immediately jumped in and shut that idea down. He basically said, "No, you've got this backwards. If LeBron ends up with the Lakers, that'll happen because the Lakers decide they want it." And I won't lie, hearing that made me stop for a second because Byron Scott hasn't backed away from that opinion at all. Listen to this, because what he says next tells you everything you need to know about how he sees this entire LeBron Lakers situation.
So let's talk about LeBron first, all right? Because he's the biggest news with the Lakers right now. LeBron says he's taking his time with free agency and may wait until August. How difficult does that make that for the Lakers front office? I'll start with Byron.
Very difficult. But you know what? I think, I don't think it's all his decision, to be honest with you. I think the Lakers are going to have a lot to do with this, as far as a lot to say, if they want to even pursue, bringing LeBron back or not. And I've been very vocal on how I feel about this whole situation. Been getting a lot of hate from all these fans that are LeBron lovers, which is fine because I have my opinion. I respect that just like I respect yours. But I've said it for a long time that I think they should part ways, and I think LeBron should go back to Cleveland, play a year there or two, or whatever the case may be. Don't get it twisted. He can still play. You know, that ain't got nothing to do with what I'm saying. He can still play, but when you have an opportunity with the Los Angeles Lakers to build around Luka, AR, bring in some fresh meat, some young talented guys, you could save $50+ million off the salary cap to bring in some younger guys. Because again, OKC and San Antonio ain't going nowhere.
No.
They're young, they're aggressive, they're hungry, and they're deep. They ain't going nowhere. So what do you have to do? You got to look at what the blueprint is now. So the Lakers got to look at getting younger, getting deeper, getting more athletic. That's the only way you're going to compete in the Western Conference. If not, if you stay pat where you are right now, we're going to continue to see you make the playoffs but lose in the first round, maybe the second round. And so, again, I've been saying this for a while, you know, and again, no disrespect to LeBron. I think he's one of the greatest that ever played this game. My opinion is that the Lakers should move on. And again, I know everybody thinks it's his decision, but, you know, the organization can say, you know what, we moving on. Mm-hmm. And we're going to start looking at other options to bring in to make us a better organization.
OP?
So you heard Byron Scott's side of the story, but now listen to this. Here's how I see the entire situation. Let's break it down strictly from a basketball perspective. Forget the memes, forget the criticism, and forget whether I'm a LeBron fan or not. Put all the jokes and emotions to the side for a minute. The Lakers already have Luka Doncic. They also have Austin Reeves. From everything I've seen, DeAndre Ayton is expected to stay after exercising his $8.1 million player option before I started recording this video. On top of that, the Lakers are sitting on more than $50 million in cap space, and man, when you're working with that kind of financial flexibility, you have a real opportunity to reshape your roster in a major way. You absolutely do. The Lakers can speed up their timeline instead of waiting, because the original belief was that the front office was targeting the summer of 2027, hoping to chase a superstar like Nikola Jokic if the opportunity ever came around. But now they have far more flexibility. And with Austin Reeves locked into what many consider a team-friendly contract, the entire equation changes. That kind of deal gives the franchise options. It also puts them in position to chase multiple impact players by using that massive $50 million in available cap space. So if you're the Lakers front office, you're probably saying, hold up, why would we commit $30 or $40 million of that money to a player who's turning 42 years old this season? From a roster building standpoint, it simply doesn't add up. And here's the biggest reason why. Even if the Lakers decided to hand LeBron a 2-year contract, I still believe it becomes a difficult deal to manage. You know why? Because down the road, that contract would have very little trade flexibility. Meanwhile, a player like Austin Reeves, who's signed to a long-term contract for, or 5 years if I remember correctly, gives you something much more valuable, because that salary can still be moved later if the team ever decides to make another major move. That's why a player like Austin Reeves gives you real value, because you can sign him to a long-term deal and still have the flexibility to move that contract later if the right opportunity comes along. But listen to this. A massive contract for LeBron is a completely different conversation, because who's realistically taking on a $40 or $50 million salary for a player who's going to be 42 or 43 years old? The truth is, almost no team is lining up to absorb that kind of financial commitment. At this point in his career, LeBron is being forced to face a new reality about where he stands in today's NBA. He's in his 40s now. That's simply the truth. Don't compare his situation to James Harden getting an extension or Kawhi Leonard signing another deal, because the Lakers are looking at this from a completely different angle. From their perspective, committing that kind of money just doesn't make financial or basketball sense. Man, they probably view that type of contract as a move that could hurt the franchise for years. Instead, the message seems pretty straightforward. If another team is willing to hand LeBron a maximum contract, then the Lakers can have that conversation. But honestly, I don't believe many teams are prepared to put that kind of offer on the table. And if a max deal does appear, it's probably not coming from a championship contender. It would more likely be a rebuilding franchise looking to sell tickets, dominate headlines, and capitalize on LeBron's star power rather than compete for a title. From the Lakers' point of view, it feels like they're saying this chapter has reached its natural ending, and now they're ready to move in a different direction. I'll be honest with you, I said something similar earlier this year. Back then, I questioned whether the Lakers were truly thinking long-term, because there's no way you convince me that trading for Luka Doncic was all about pairing him with a 40-year-old superstar for the future. Hold up. That never sounded like a realistic long-term blueprint to me, Dot. Now, I'm starting to believe the Lakers actually do have a serious plan. Their focus appears to be maximizing Luka's championship window by surrounding him with younger, impactful pieces instead of tying up their flexibility. And don't forget, before LeBron came back last season, this team was already playing some really solid basketball. They really were, Dot, and when you look at the on-court impact, those plus-minus numbers with LeBron on the floor versus when he's off the floor are legitimate stats that deserve to be part of this conversation. Because of that, I honestly think Byron Scott is right on the money with his assessment. Listen to this. The Lakers are the ones holding the leverage here, not LeBron. If LeBron truly had all the power, he probably would have had a new contract long before free agency even arrived. The Lakers wouldn't have let a player of his caliber reach the open market in the first place. Think about it for a second. How often do elite superstars actually make it to free agency at the end of their contracts? It rarely happens. Most franchise players receive extensions before things ever get to this stage, and that didn't happen here. In reality, the warning signs have been there ever since last offseason. Maybe LeBron and his camp believed another outstanding season would force the Lakers to reward him with the deal he wanted. But hold up. The front office appears to have taken a completely different position. Instead, the Lakers seem to be saying, no, we're choosing a different path. And from a roster-building perspective, I actually think that decision gives the organization a better chance to build around Luka Doncic and position itself for the future.